Welcome to the Wars of the Roses. This is part 6 in the Hiram Abiff series, Hiram Abiff and the Knights Templar, in which we'll be exploring the connections of modern Freemasonry to the Knights Templar through Hiram Abiff. The three assassins of Hiram Abiff symbolize the three betrayers of the order Knights Templar and Hiram the Grand Master Jacques de Molay. And according to the ritual of the Grand Lodge of the Three Globes, a German degree, the lights around the coffin signify the flames of the pile of which Molay was burnt. To the Rosicrucians and to certain German lodges, Hiram is the Christ, and the three assassins, Judas that betrays, Peter that denies him, and Thomas that disbelieves his resurrection. The symbolic degrees of ancient craft Freemasonry, the three blows Hiram Abiff received, are said to be typical of the trials and temptations to which man is subject in youth and manhood, and to death, whose victim he becomes in old age. Hence, the three assassins are the three stages of human life. In the advanced degrees, such as the Kadosh, which are found on the Templar system, commonly credited to Ramsay, the reference is naturally made to the destruction of the order, which are therefore symbolized by the three blows, while the three assassins are also said sometimes to be represented by Swin de Florence, Naafidi, and the Prior of Mount Fucum, the three perjurers who swore away the lives of de Molay and his knights. In the astronomical theory of Freemasonry, which makes it a modern modification of the ancient sun worship, a theory advanced by Ragan, the three blows are symbolic of the destructive influences of the three winter months, by which Hiram, or the sun, is shorn of his vivifying power. These Etongs has generalized the Templar theory, and supposing Hiram to be the symbol of eternal reason, interprets the blows as the attacks of those vices which deprive and finally destroy humanity. However interpreted, for a special theory, Hiram the Builder always represents in the science of Masonic symbolism the principle of good, and then the three blows are the contending principles of evil. Some Masonic historians take the allegory literally, almost always a mistake, and state that what was lost was the word of the Grand Master or the secrets of the Master. What the Templars had lost, literally, was their wealth, respect, and power. The man being initiated as a master by acting out the murder is being turned into another Hiram. Every master takes that role and becomes Hiram, a name by which Masons sometimes address each other. He is the son of the widow, and it is his task to replace that which was lost. The leadership, the direction, the work required to finish the building of the Order of the Temple, which was brutally stopped by beatings and murder. On the 19th day of March, 1314, Jacques de Molay, the last Grand Master of the Knights Templar, was burned on a pyre erected upon that point of the Islet of Seine at Paris, where afterwards was erected the statue of King Henry IV. See The Indian Religions by Hargrave Jennings. It is mentioned as a tradition in some accounts of the burning, writes Jennings, that Molay, ere he expired, summoned Clement the Pope, who had pronounced the bull of abolition against the order and had condemned the Grand Master to the flames, to appear within 40 days before the Supreme Eternal Judge, and Philip the King to the same awful tribunal within the space of a year. Both predictions were fulfilled. The close relationship between Freemasonry and the original Knights Templar has caused the story of Hiram to be linked with the martyrdom of Jacques de Molay. According to this interpretation, the three ruffians who cruelly slew their master at the gates of the temple because he refused to reveal the secrets of his order represent the Pope, the King, and the executioners. De Molay died maintaining his innocence and refusing to disclose the philosophical and magical arcana of the Templars. The 30th degree of the Knight of Kadosh, ancient accepted Scottish Rite, has its ties to the Knights Templar. The history of the Knights Templar is revealed to him within this degree. It is also explained to him that the Knights Kadosh do not fight to revenge de Molay, rather they fight in the present world to oppose tyranny and to protect the weak. And then it is essentially left to him. He knows what tyranny is. He has been made aware that a king, a president, a Congress, or a school board can enforce it. He has been assured that tyranny is not something that happens only in the past. It is something which happens every day in his world. He may encounter examples of it a dozen times a day, and a dozen times a day he will have to decide whether to let tyranny continue or to oppose it. If he truly understands the 30th degree, he realizes that he must undertake a very great responsibility. But a true knight, Kadosh, also understands that if no one fights, the battle is lost before it starts. According to Scripture, Hiram was not an architect, but a master worker in brass and bronze. He was not murdered, but lived to see the temple completed, and then went back to his home. The clues to the Masonic origin and purpose are found in the allegorical legend, not in the Scriptures. As we search British history to find an unfinished temple as a basis for an exclusively British secret society, we find just one answer. In the religious order that often called themselves by the simple name alone, the Temple. Jacques de Molay and his predecessors signed documents over the title Magister Templii, Master of the Temple. And that temple, taking its name from the Temple of Solomon, certainly was left unfinished upon the murder of its masters, who also had been tortured to reveal their secrets by three assassins who ultimately destroyed them, not Jubala, Jubalo, or Jubalum, but Philip the Fair of France, Pope Clement V, and the Order of the Knights of the Hospital of St. John of Jerusalem. Every 12 years, reminding us of the 12 fellows that Solomon sent in parties of 3 to search for Hiram Abiff. 2 ships sail out into the world in search of learning, that in either of these ships there should be a mission of 3 of the fellows or brethren of Solomon's house, whose errand was only to give us knowledge of the affairs and the state of those countries to which they were designed, and especially of the sciences, arts, manufacturers, and inventors of all the world, and withal to bring us books, instruments, and patterns in every kind. 12 fellow craftsmen are exploring the 4 points of the compass. Are not these 12 the 12 great world religions, each seeking in its own way for that which was lost in the ages past, and the quest of which is the birthright of man? Is not the quest for reality in a world of illusions the task for which each comes into the world? We are here to gain balance in a sphere of unbalance, to find rest in a restless thing, to unveil illusion, and to slay the dragon of our own animal nature. As David, king of Israel, gave to the hands of his son Solomon the task he could not accomplish, so each generation gives to the next the work of building the temple, rather rebuilding the dwelling of the Lord, which is on Mount Moriah. Elias Levi points out the great resemblance which exists between King Hyrches and the fabulous Hiram, of whom Solomon procured the cedars of Lebanon and the gold of Ophir. We would like to know whether modern Masons, even grand lecturers, and the most intelligent craftsmen belonging to important lodges understand who the Hiram is, whose death they combine together to avenge. The compass and square appear allegorically as the unfinished Seal of Solomon, directly symbolizing the unfinished temple. The compass and square hidden in the Seal of Solomon provide a graphic link impossible to ignore, a link between the major badge of Freemasonry and the interpretation of the building of Solomon's temple in the legend of Hiram Abiff, as symbolized by the unfinished Seal of Solomon. That legend, which is the central feature of Masonic ritual, adds credence to the Templar origin, especially since it is based upon an allegorical temple whose construction was halted because of the beating and murder of Grand Master Hiram Abiff. We know that the real Temple of Solomon was fully completed and in use for several centuries. The Temple of Solomon that was not completed can only be the order of the poor fellow soldiers of Christ and the Temple of Solomon, the Knights Templar. The dead master is replaced by the initiate who is raised to the degree of Master Mason. He not only becomes Hiram Abiff in the ritual drama, but he also assumes the Grand Master's interpreted objective, the completion of the temple, by keeping the secret society alive and growing, symbolically rescuing the order of the temple from the cessation ordered for it by King and Pope. The Templars, or the poor fellow soldiery of the holy house of the temple, intended to be rebuilt, took as their models in the Bible the warrior masons of Zerubbabel, who worked holding the sword in one hand and the trowel in the other. Therefore, it was the sword and the trowel were the insignia of the Templars, who subsequently, as will be seen, concealed themselves under the name of Brethren Mason. This name, in the French, adapted by the way of secret reference to the builders of the Second Temple, was corrupted in English into Freemason. As Pythagore de Courton was into Peter Gower of Gallatin in England. Kaharam or Kahuram, a misrendering into Hiram from an artificer in brass and other metals. Because the chief builder of the Hegel Kadosh, the holy house of the temple, and the words Ban-Er and Ban-Aim yet to appear in the Masonic degrees, meaning builder and builders. The uninterrupted chain, modern Freemasonry, chain from the Knights Templar, leads us back to the important initiatic schools of Egypt, in which certain adherents had attained the highest degree of initiation. Among them, Moses, Pythagoras, and Plato are believed to be among the highest initiates. This secret legend is the same as that of the Rosicrucians, which is that Jesus chose some of the apostles and confided to them a secret science, which was transmitted afterwards to the priest of the order of the Knights Templar, and through them to the building fraternities, and down to the present Freemasons of the Swedish Rite. And that brings part 6 to an end. The other parts are in the playlist below, along with much more information. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share.